Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursdays at 3. I'm your host, Jason Crespin. So glad that you guys are joining us on this Thursday, November 11th, 11/11. Make a wish. It's a great, great day. We have a great guest, Miss Marley Hoggatt's with us today from the fantastic production Defying Gravity that starts preview performances tonight. And then, of course, our opening night tomorrow night. We'll get to her shortly. But before we begin, we want to, of course, always remind you everything that's going on here at the Amarillo Little Theater each week. And you may have already marked your calendars for this, but right around the corner, starting Monday and Tuesday, we already have auditions for the fourth main stage production, which that feels so weird that it's the fourth main stage production. We, of course, remember Patsy Cline started us off a little bit early on the main stage, but for the fourth production of the main stage, we have Murder on the Orient Express, that Agatha Christie book, of course, that was made into a stage play, written, adapted for the stage by Ken Ludwig. He's the same author, of course, that did Baskerville a couple of years back, and great, great piece of theater. Those auditions again are Monday and Tuesday, November 15th and or 16th. You can come either one of those days. 7:30 here at the ALT main stage, the Alan Shankles main stage. You'll want to come on into the Turk lobby. Reminder that those production dates are January 20th through the 30th. You can check out a script by contacting the ALT box office or swing by the box office. They have scripts that you can basically perusal scripts that you can rent for $10 and then bring those back and get your $10 back. But yeah, we'll have auditions coming up for that Monday and Tuesday. Remember, you can audition either day or come both days. So yeah, so that's right around the corner. Speaking of our main stage, Double Wide Texas Christmas. They're in rehearsals right now, of course. It's going to be, as Peg Levitt likes to say, not your mama's nutcracker. It's going to be a great holiday play that runs in the first 2 weekends of December. But we want to let you know tickets go on sale Monday, this coming Monday, to our season ticket holders. So Monday the 15th, starting at 10 a.m., you can start getting your tickets for Double Wide Texas Christmas. Of course, those go on sale to the public the following Monday, the 22nd. We, of course, always want to remind you about any partnerships that we have. Thank you to From Six Collective. They hosted our ALT Academy Showstoppers this past weekend. They did a great, great, kind of 30-minute set of music out there for the shoppers for their 1-year anniversary. And then 10% of all the proceeds that day came back to the ALT Academy. It was awesome. We really thank From Six Collective for that. Speaking of other great partnerships, of course, the Royal Bar, they have a signature cocktail, rotates every 2 months, that some of those proceeds come back to the Amarillo Little Theater. So we always love thanking them and promoting them. So if you're out and about, check out the Royal Bar. That's in Palace Coffee's Wolfland location. And right there is a great photo of the drink that is featured for ALT this coming month and next month, I believe, as well. It's called the Rosemary Haze. Sounds fantastic with that cinnamon infused still Austin gin, rosemary simple syrup, and then of course some good smoked rosemary. But I love that some of those a portion of the sales of the Rosemary Haze, of course, benefit ALT. So while you're out and about, maybe doing some holiday shopping, swing by the Royal Bar or after a show. It's a great spot after a show to talk about the show, and you might even see some of the actors there or a production team that might be meeting up there and talking about the show. Also, this coming weekend, there's still room. Our fantastic dance instructor, Mr. Sean Walsh, has expanded slightly the Cabaret Dance Workshop. If you've forgotten about that, that Cabaret Dance Workshop is going to be this Saturday, November 13th, as well as next Saturday, November 20th. Just $20 for and to be able to attend both of those workshops. They're 2-hour workshops each from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, of course, the 13th and 20th. Anyone that might be interested in auditioning for ALT's Cabaret that's coming up, you're unsure of the dance style, or if you just want to get better at auditions for musicals, this is a great workshop for you guys to attend. Choreographer Sean Walsh will basically take you through warm-ups and combinations that will help you understand the style of dance that's going to be used in the show. Of course, Sean is choreographing Cabaret. So he says, come and learn as much as you can and feel more confident in your next dance audition. You, of course, if you want to sign up for that, can call our ALT box office at 806-355-9991. visit the website amarillalittletheater.org. Again, 3 more spots left in that cabaret dance workshop that starts this coming weekend. So if you're interested, sign up. $20 for 4 hours of dance. It's a steal, a steal. And then we always want to remind you every week that the Panhandle Gives is coming up November 22nd through the 30th. Mark that calendar, November 28th. We're going to have a great kind of event at 6 p.m., a virtual event. You'll get more information soon about that. It's the Sunday after, of course, Thanksgiving. But don't forget, the Panhandle Gives. If you're going to be donating through that time through the Amarillo Area Foundation and looking for an organization that you want to make your donation go towards, we would love for you to make it for the Amarillo Little Theater. So yeah, we're excited. That's going to be coming up later on this month. Also, speaking of this weekend, I should mention that the box office is still in need of one more usher for this Saturday's performance of Defying Gravity. If you think you can help us out, just really for an hour from 7 to 8 is all we need you for. Go ahead and give Lissa a call. You can volunteer by emailing her there at lissa@amarillalittletheater.org, or of course, call the box office 806-355-9991. Again, Miss Lissa's needing one more usher for this coming Saturday's performance. That will be on Saturday the 13th. Yeah, Saturday the 13th. So come spend an hour at ALT. Hand out some programs, check some tickets, welcome people to the theater. All right, guys. We have, of course, she's not only our amazing volunteer that performs on our stage, she's also, of course, our board president. Marley Hoggatt has basically grown up at the Amarillo Little Theater, and I'm so excited to have her on our show today to talk about Defying Gravity. If you have not heard yet, Defying Gravity opens tonight, basically with our preview performance tonight. Officially opens tomorrow, but runs for this weekend and next weekend through the 21st. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic, stunning show. I want to welcome Miss Marley Hoggatt. Hey, Miss Marley.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good.
Got my palace, getting ready for the show tonight.
I was gonna say, you have brand marketing right there. Like, it's perfect. I love it. And who? I mean, I guess you could make your own Rosemary Haze at home and have that in there. But what's your go-to coffee drink when you go to college?
So I get a golden chai and I add espresso to it. It's
Oh. Yeah, I get the golden chai, but obviously no espresso for me. I love it. Well, I feel like, gosh, I've been hanging out with y'all all week. I've gotten to see the rehearsals. I got to see your final dress rehearsal last night, of course, and it's just such a stunning show. For those people who have no clue what the show about, of course, we joke that it's not Wicked. We keep saying, yes, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo have just been announced for Wicked. This is not that show.
No.
Tell our viewers, what is Defying Gravity about? Of course, this is the great play written by Jane Anderson. How would you describe what the show is about?
So I would describe this show as it's a memory piece about the collective response to an American tragedy. So the Space Shuttle Challenger, of course, went up in 1986. There was the first so-called civilian in space who had not been, trained as an astronaut for a decade like the others.
Right.
She was chosen out of 46,000 people to go up.
46,000. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How did they just apply?
Yeah. They had to do an initial essay, and then the ones who were picked as like semifinalists had to do like multiple essays on multiple subjects. They had to get all these character references. They had to go all these like psychological and physical tests, and it was just a really rigorous process. And then they narrowed it down to 10. They brought them all to the DC area and had interviews with like the FBI and all these government agencies that had buy-in into the space shuttle missions. And out of those 10, Krista McAuliffe was chosen. She was a social studies teacher from Connecticut. And then her alternate, Barbara Morgan, was also chosen, and she trained alongside Krista the whole time before the mission.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this show is basically about her and her daughter,
yes,
as like a memory piece from her daughter, if you will.
Yeah. And so that is real. Krista really did have a 5-year-old daughter who watched the Challenger go up and never saw her mom again.
Wow.
Her name was actually Caroline. She doesn't talk publicly about the disaster, but her family helped start a foundation to
Oh,
help kids learn about science careers, and especially girls get invested in those kind of careers.
yeah. Very cool. Very cool. And so the show kind of centers around that, and then it kind of explores different people that were affected in some way by this. There's of course, um, we got some great photos from Criselda, who took photos last night. I love this photo of you as the teacher in an element of teaching right there, and then of course as you're boarding the ship, if you will.
Yeah.
But remind us who Don and Kim are
Oh,
on the show.
so Don and Kim play Bob and Betty. Is it Bob?
Yes,
Oh,
I believe so. Yeah.
oh my gosh, I can't believe I
I know,
forgot.
right?
They're the only characters I never have a scene with.
Oh, that's
So
so true.
they are a retired couple who have taken to RV life, and they're exploring the United States to see all the wonders of our country. And they decide to go to Cocoa Beach to watch the shuttle launch, which is a huge attraction in Florida. People will come from
Yeah.
even overseas to watch those launches.
Wow. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow. And they decide they're kind of traveling and they decide to view it. Then of course we have I'm trying to think of there's so many good photos. Let me pull up this one. Oh,
Uh,
this is a good one. You can't really see him. Let me pull up a better photo. That's kind of a good photo of
Oh
those
my
two.
gosh. So Brandon Graves plays CB, who is a member of the ground crew at NASA who works on the space shuttle before it goes up. He tells a story about a drill in the show in one of the most like effective and beautiful moments of the entire
Yeah.
thing. That's real. I think it's not a story that is widely known, but his character is based on a man who was actually a member of the ground and mechanical crew at NASA who did work on the Space
Wow.
Shuttle Challenger. And because that drill was out of batteries, it took too long to go get replacements to tighten up a valve on the window lock. The shuttle didn't take off the week before. They had to delay it a week. And of course, we know now that because they delayed it a week and they went up on a day where it was very cold, especially for Florida, and it basically froze the O-rings on the fuel supply and the rocket, that led to the disaster.
Wow. Wow. That's so crazy. Oh my gosh. P.S. I just remember it was Ed.
Ed, oh my
Ed,
gosh.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
close. But yeah,
I'm
no,
so
no, you're good.
sorry, Don.
You're good. No, you're good.
um,
And then of course, and then Jay.
so that's my favorite scene to do in the show because I would do anything with Jay. She is the most beautiful, generous actor. She plays Donna, who owns a local bar where the astronauts and everybody associated with NASA hangs out. She is kind of I feel like she's kind of the grounding force of the show. She's the one who
Sure.
speaks truth to the characters when they need it and is the encouragement and the kindness and the compassion. She's just killing it in that part. And so really everybody is too. I keep saying that's my favorite part of the show. That's my favorite part of the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's hard to yeah, there's so many great solid scenes. Of course, Jennifer McClellan plays your daughter, Elizabeth, in this show, and she has the hard part of playing, 5-year-old and then, an adult who is recalling all of these memories and has to, kind of go through this process of healing with the play.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. She handles this so well. She just switches back and forth between her memories of a childhood and her as an adult talking through her grief and making
Yeah.
realizations about how life and how the world really is. When you go through so much trauma as a child, it kind of colors your perception of the
Yeah.
world, especially, it doesn't matter what age you are, losing a parent is awful. But when you're that young and it's so public
Yeah,
And
that spotlight on it, that's a lot.
yeah, and Jennifer is
Um,
handling it beautifully.
and then also randomly in the show, because of course when I think of the Challenger explosion, I immediately think of Claude Monet. And so Jeffrey Pickens playing the French the painter, if you will. This is a scene that he has with Jennifer, of course, but what is Claude Monet doing in the show?
So Claude Monet, we've called him our guardian angel. He's not a
Oh,
narrator.
that's a great way of describing him.
Obviously we can't have somebody play God in the show. That would be way too hard to conceptualize. And how could
Yeah.
a person do that? But as Claude Monet, he is this omniscient presence who talks about grief, who talks about how we heal from grief, um, who talks about how we relate to the world and how we forgive the hurt in our past and we achieve our dreams once we're able to do that. And he
Oh,
also,
yeah.
I love that he talks about how, you know, as a painter, he wanted to paint the world through God's eyes, from God's view.
Yeah.
And when you research the shuttle program and the space program, and these astronauts talk about seeing the Earth from space, and they talk about it as this is God's view of the world. And
Right.
it's just it sounds a little strange to talk about Claude Monet in a play about the Challenger disaster, but it works and it's beautiful. And Jeff is just
Well,
incredible.
and it's one of those things too where it's a type of show where you think how do they go together? It's like
Yeah.
whenever you have a random recipe where you're like these two flavors would never go together, but then you take a bite and they work out perfectly. So
Yes.
no, I completely agree with that as well. And I think present day, if basically if Claude Monet was a billionaire in our current climate, he would be one of those who's like, "Yep, I'm gonna go up in
Yeah.
space and I want to paint." There's another great photo of him there with Dawn, in some great scenes. But yeah, it's just beautifully done. I think everyone has just turned in some fantastic performances. Somebody who has basically been watching a lot, Christy Corder there says, love watching it
Oh,
grow every night, which I think is
oh,
she's been watching you guys as well. And there is one of my stars in the house friends. Hello, Lori. I'm so glad that you're watching. We're talking about Defying Gravity here at our Amarillo Little Theater. It's a great play that opens up tonight. Um, and let's talk about the production team. Of course, Kara Limer, this is her
yes.
directorial debut, especially with us. And how has it been working with Kara?
Oh, she's incredible. I think I commented last week that I'd follow her into battle, and I mean that. Like,
Yeah,
it's been
yeah,
such a good experience. She is so intelligent and thoughtful and analytical, and she believes in the show. She
yeah.
loves it, and you always know that working with her.
Well,
She
yeah,
is a dream.
she's passionate. And the cool thing with her, if there's something that's intriguing or an idea or a thought, like she wants to take that time and really think about it and digest it and figure out all the elements of it and then implement it. She's so great about really processing all of that and respecting people's ideas and different things like that.
Yeah.
um I gave her a big hug last night and I was like, okay, I don't know what it's like to have a kid, but you're about to have a kid basically tomorrow. Like you're going to be this proud parent, but also sitting there going, I can't control anything right now. It's hard to
Yeah.
give that control over to the production team and the actors, but you guys are definitely ready. I told you this last night. You guys are ready for an audience for sure, which is
Yes.
going to be awesome. I think I
Can't
think they're
wait.
gonna yeah, they're gonna embrace it tonight and this whole weekend and next weekend. And it's gonna be absolutely so much fun. Now, you pretty much have worked with almost everyone in the show before, correct?
Yes.
Except, am I
Except
right? You have not
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
um, from Claude Monet for being your Uncle Fester when you were, an Adams together, where Kim was your sister in other
Mhm.
desert cities, and I just love whenever like things like that happen, where kind of
Yes.
figuring out how all these actors, ALT volunteers, kind of matched up
Yeah.
before.
Oh, I
Um,
worked with Brandon before, and I was so excited that he was
oh,
on
okay,
the show because I've loved all his work. So
yeah.
that's been a
Well,
good experience.
and this show really, I mean, it's an ensemble piece for
Yes.
sure. Like you guys have to rely on each other to tell these stories and to I mean, you and several characters just play one character. Other people though, they kind of are your Greek chorus, if you will,
Yeah.
and act out other aspects of the show. Um, what was that like? I mean, I know you guys did a lot of table work and research to kind of get as much information, but what was that like to build that tight ensemble that you guys have?
I feel like this cast is like they're family now, and
Yeah,
I don't ever want this to be over because it's been such a good experience.
good.
In some of these scenes, we'll like I have a scene with Brandon where we are in the scene together and we're talking and we even speak at the same time, but we can't ever look at each other.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
takes a lot of trust, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah, well, and there's another moment like that with you and Jennifer in the house scene that you guys have to have, like, I mean, really good timing of to make sure it works, and you guys nail it. I think it's so well done. All the research you guys have done, of course, too. How has that research been, especially for you, because you're playing? I mean, everyone knows who you're playing.
Yes.
You're playing the teacher, and so that's a fine line between trying to, of course, not do too much to where yeah, you want to make it your own, but you still
Yeah.
want to give, honor to her and her life. How did you balance that?
I really feel like this Krista McAuliffe is an American hero. We talk about the concept of saints in the show, and I think that it's a very poignant line where my character says, I think most of the saints were ordinary people put in extraordinary circumstances. It's what people said about them afterwards. And I think that's
Yeah,
really happened with Krista McAuliffe and with the crew of the Challenger. I want to honor her and honor her legacy and her family.
yeah.
Um, I spent a long time reading and researching and watching everything I could get my hands on. When we were in New York a couple weeks ago, we went and visited the U.S. It was the Enterprise, the space shuttle. It's on the Intrepid Museum in New York.
Cool.
But I just wanted to see it. I wanted to see
Yeah,
what she saw,
yeah,
and understand the scale.
yeah.
Um,
Well, and even just thinking about those 10 finalists and that alternate that didn't get picked, like,
oh,
I can't even imagine thinking being bummed that you didn't get picked and then that happening and then thinking,
I
"Oh my
have a
gosh,
good
I'm so
story about
lucky."
that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Oh,
Barbara Morgan was her alternate. She was also a teacher. She watched the Challenger um, break apart, and she returned home. She resigned her teaching job. She went
wow.
back to school to study physics and engineering and was accepted by NASA into their astronaut training class. And she officially became the first teacher in space in 2007.
What? I didn't know
Yeah.
that at all. Wow.
Yeah.
So
She was,
she full on became an astronaut
yeah.
and then went up to be the teacher. Wow.
Yeah.
So even after that, she still wanted to go. That's
Yeah, she
amazing.
wanted to honor that legacy. She wanted to continue the work that they had set out to do.
That's speaks volumes right there.
Yeah,
Wow.
it just gives you chills to think about.
It
Um,
does. It totally does.
I think, this happened in 1986. I think a lot of, especially younger people, don't know.
Yeah.
They
I was
don't.
3. I
No,
mean,
me too.
I remember I mean, this is how I remember it, sadly, because of the Garth Brooks song, The Dance.
Yeah,
And the music video, and it would show them walking, and so that's what I just kind of always associated the
yeah.
Challenger with was Garth Brooks' music video, and
We
so
learned a
really
little about it, but
yeah, just a little, but not like full, like, I don't like what 9/11 is for us
yes.
is not the Challenger for me right now, and so finding out these details, it's so
Yeah.
interesting, I think.
And Amarillo has a tie to the
Yeah,
space program through Rick Husband, who was the
yeah.
commander of the Columbia. So I think people in this area do feel a little more connected to the space program, but even still, we've lost some of that history. It's not in the forefront of our minds like the space
Yeah,
program initially was when people remember the first man on the moon. They remember
yeah.
our race to be first in space.
Well,
So
and to think this was the 25th launch, correct? Is that right? I believe is what they
I
said.
believe so.
I think
Yeah.
that's in the voiceover
Yeah,
of when it goes
it
off,
was.
and to think that, 25 times or 24 other times before that, things were okay.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I think, and that's what's so cool about this story with Defying Gravity is your story, and then the couple of Ed and Betty, and then of course Jay, who works at the local dive bar that the astronauts go to, and CB, which is Brandon's character who works on it. How all of the kind of lives are affected by one another, and then kind of like you said, the guardian angels watching over it all, and that's Claude Monet. My friend there, Lori, I wish, she says, will you be taking it on the road after Amarillo? I wish, Lori, that would be so awesome if we could take it on the
I
road,
would do this show
and
forever.
yeah, it'd be so fun to tour it for sure. She said, I lived through it. Heck, I grew up with a space program. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you know exactly kind of, and this show does, I will say this, the show doesn't, um there's no there's some comedy in it. It's not just this kind of
Yeah.
a show where it just kind of harps on the negative aspect of what happened. There's them light to it. There's some healing to it. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll have so many emotions for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Cindy says Amarillo does have a great
Yes.
museum that folks need to go through by Bell Helicopter. Thanks, Cindy, for that information. Yes, beautiful museum that kind of helps understand how, especially Amarillo ties and stuff like that, for sure. With this show, what do you hope, I guess, maybe that audience, well, first let's talk who should come see the show. I mean, yes, there's a couple
Everyone.
yeah, there's a couple of bad words. That's why it's rated PG-13, and a little bit of innuendo, nothing at all,
Yeah.
as other adventure space shows have been. But I think that students would learn a lot from this
Yes.
show, and especially that's the other thing is, like, you just kind of even learn more about Claude Monet and his kind of
Yeah.
world. And I freaking learned in your speech to the class. I was like, wow, that's how the cathedrals got made, and like all the
Yeah.
information. I just was like, felt like I had to, like, I should take, like, there should be a quiz at the end of the show going like, what facts did you learn, which I thought was really cool.
I think educators especially will feel a real tie to this show. And I think this show does a good job of honoring our educators and the
Yeah,
role that they play in our lives.
100%.
Krista McAuliffe's famous quote was, I touch the future, I teach. And I think, even after this disaster, she has continued
Yeah,
to spur education, to touch future generations.
sure. Oh, 100%. With a show like this, it's perfect for the adventure space. It kind of has that newer kind of quirky, but the show is really, am I correct? It was written in the late 80s, right?
Yes, it
Right
was
after, right.
late 80s, workshopped throughout the 90s, and then finally was off Broadway, I think late 90s.
I believe you're right. Yeah. And so I did a little research for something I can't remember, and because I was like, I don't really know this playwright as well, and I think she won an Emmy. Am I correct? She
Yeah,
wrote like like the Texas cheerleader
yeah, the movie about the Texas cheerleader mom who killed the rival.
killed. Yes. So I just was like, I love how she's so interested in real life events that, she's kind of taken, not the liberty, but she's taken those stories
Yeah.
and done what we should do as storytellers, as artists, is be able to tell the story through a theatrical aspect.
She did Olive Kitteridge, that miniseries with,
Yes.
was that Kate Winslet?
Um, yes, I think it was Kate
I
Winslet.
think so.
Yeah, I was thinking it was Frances McDormand, but I think you're right. I think it was Kate Winslet.
No, it was Frances McDormand. I just thought.
Okay, was it? Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So her writing is spectacular.
She
It's
writes women
very
really
well done. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. She knows how to write from that perspective for sure. Um, with this show, with the adventure space show, with it being kind of a little more quirky and fits really well in the adventure space, of course. You have been kind of been at the adventure space for the past couple shows. Of course, you had the humans, other desert cities. Do you
Yeah,
think? But you of course have done also the main stage,
yeah.
with Adam's Family, White Christmas, things like that. Musical comedy, Murders of 1940.
Yeah. Little
What
Shop
do
of
you?
Horrors.
Little Shop, hello, yes,
Your first main stage.
yes, exactly, yes. What do you have a preference of main stage or adventure space? I mean, you've kind of gotten to do both really well.
Yeah. I just like doing shows that I feel a connection to, or that I
Yeah,
feel strongly about the material and our need for it.
yeah.
I just love being at ALT. I like both the spaces. They both have like amazing prose and um, and it's just a different experience in both places because in the adventure space you're living it with your audience.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you can feel their reactions. And on the main stage, you're more removed, but you're doing something on a broader or grander scale that is usually like bringing a lot of laughter, a lot of joy. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I love both of those experiences.
And you've dabbled both plays and musicals, which
Yes.
is two different types of storytelling for sure. And so I think that's great. It just shows how versatile you are, and
Oh,
and you're so strong in this show. I this is one of my favorite photos, I think, of I just think
oh,
it's such a beautiful photo, and has, of course, the ensemble in the back playing
yeah.
reporters and stuff like that. But there's there's moments when you kind of forget that you're watching a story, that part of it really happened, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That this is a real person that was a part of a team, that they lost their lives, and it's, I think it's just beautifully told,
Yeah.
Carol and her vision for the show works really well, and Greg Dunlap, the lighting that he's come up with for the show. Of course, Brandon Confumi and Greg Dunlap and Noah Lang for the set just
It's
alone.
incredible.
Yeah, I love the set. I think it's one of those times when you wish, just, I mean, I was partial, of course, to my mountains in
Yes.
Sound of Music. It's one of those times when you just wish you could just take it off the wall and, like, save it, you know what I mean? It's like,
Oh
I
my
don't wanna
gosh.
repaint over that wall. I don't wanna repaint over the floor, and
Oh, I know. And this is the first time that I've been in a show where we were assisted by a dramaturg.
yes, I
And
was gonna say,
that's
let's talk about more about, of course, the production team. We have Carol Limer as the director, Laura Jo Worsham as the assistant
yeah,
director, Christy Corder came in as kind of the stage manager. Andrew Terry, his sound cues, his sound design for the show,
it's
so
amazing.
strong. It just immediately this I love the transition music just because it has that ambiance of space, even though we don't know what that
Yes.
is. And then, of course, Dennis Humphrey has come up with beautiful projections that kind of encompass with the show. But yeah, the dramaturg Michael
Yeah.
Hoy, he's kind of set up some information for in the lobby, which will be great, and he'll be
Yeah.
helping out with the talk back. But I love that he kind of was able to help provide some extra information for you guys. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, and especially for the audience. So if you come to see the show, make sure you don't skip by all the material that's in the lobby
Yeah,
because he's put together information on Claude Monet and on the Challenger disaster that's really helpful in putting everything into context. And
and
so the show focuses on Krista McAuliffe, but there were 6 other people on the space shuttle with
yeah,
her. So
yeah,
both Michael and then Laura, Joe, and Kim put
yeah.
together beautiful bios, beautiful information about all of that crew because they were all important.
Yeah, I love that it's kind of set up as like a small, like, memorial, if you will, for
Yeah,
them, and it's beautiful. So yeah, so definitely as our Adventure Space audiences come to the theater, of course, we want to remind you that this show is at the ALT Adventure Space. That you'll want to definitely, as you walk in, take the time to look at that, read that information, because it's such. I mean, obviously they wrote a play about it, but you could write a
yeah.
whole other play about any of the other
Oh
six
my gosh.
astronauts that were on
This
that
was
ship.
this was the most diverse crew that had ever been on a space mission. Ron Mcnair was the second black man to go to space. Ellison on his I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher his last name. I think it was Onizuka.
Okay.
Onizuka was the first Asian man in space. Then Judy Resnick was the first Jewish woman in space.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
it was
Yeah,
just a
that's
very
they all had stories, they all had families,
yes,
they all had, dreams and ambitions as well. And so to I mean, highlight, of course, one aspect, but we can't forget the other aspects
yeah.
that were on that ship as well. Um, what for as you as an actress in the show, what were some of the challenges maybe that you were maybe like maybe you in doing all this research you didn't realize how much information was out there that you maybe didn't know,
Yeah.
or what were some of the challenges to bring this character to life?
Um, I wanted to be very cognizant of who she was as a person and not just think of her as a character in a show.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, you had to, yeah,
because
that makes
she
sense.
she was real. She sacrificed her life. on a mission to expand education for kids in America, because the reason they did the Teacher in Space program was she was going to actually be giving live streamed video lessons into classrooms across America.
Wow.
The launch was actually streamed by PBS into schools. So, and her lessons were going to be streamed as well. And
Just to think about how many people were watching it live, like
how many
schools.
kids.
Yeah.
It's just, I think when you're playing somebody who is real, who is a real hero, who believed in her mission and what she was doing, I think it's important to always do as much research as you can so that you're being respectful and you're honoring them rather than trying to play a character.
Yep, agreed. You nailed it. Yep. Heather there says, I have tickets for Saturday and I can't wait.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see you, Heather.
I love that, Heather. You're going to thoroughly enjoy this show. It's absolutely just a breathtaking show, and it does what theater should do, which is also what our mission statement is, which I love that it's our mission statement because I keep saying it. It educates us, it enlightens us, but it also entertains us for sure. And so I think that's exactly what this piece does. We want to remind everyone that tickets are on sale right now. Of course, we're talking about Defying Gravity. This is performed starting tonight through the 21st. Thursday shows are at 7:30. Friday and Saturday shows, of course, at 8 o'clock. We have Sunday matinees at 2:30. We also want to remind you that for this show, especially audience members that are still a little leery about going out and about, tonight's show, November 11th, Sunday show, November 14th, and next Saturday show, November 20th. Those 3 shows are our masked audience performances, so which basically means the audience will be required to wear masks for those 3 shows to help keep everyone feeling safe, of course, especially those who might not be able to come unless we do that. We have a lot of patrons that can't come to the theater unless everyone is masked. But we, of course, want to remind you the show runs for this weekend and next weekend at our ALT Adventure Space. Also, after the matinee on Sunday, after the 14th matinee, we'll have a great talkback series, the Ovation Talkback series, where Marley, as well as all of the production team, as well as all the actors of the show, and Michael Hoy, the dramaturg, will all discuss the themes of the show and kind of, if you have any questions about anything with the show involving maybe, more about these characters' lives and stuff like that, you guys can get those answered. And that's a free event after the November 20th, November 14th show. We should also mention the show is one act. There's no intermission. It's a great show for the Adventure Space. We've had a lot of shows like that before where there's no intermission. So as you're walking in, grab that drink, that specialty cocktail. For this show, it's called, I can let you know, it's called Lift Off, kind of a space type show. I'm not going to tell you what's in it, but definitely check out the ingredients, because there's one ingredient that I was like, of course, that has to be in this drink. It's hilarious.
Oh.
And then, but yeah, grab your drink as you walk in. Of course, open seating over at the Adventure Space. Doors open, of course, to our main lobby 1 hour before every performance. 30 minutes before showtime, we open up those doors into the actual theater for you guys to get your seats. Thank you, Lori. She says, break legs and much love. Much love to you, Lori, as well. I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. There's a Marley, there's a group called the Sith Fam Core. They're like the main core group of the Stars in the House, and so Lori's one of those as well. Oh, and my sister Lon's watching. Hey, Miss April. Hope you guys are doing well. I miss my family. I feel like Thursdays are the day where I get to see people that I haven't seen in forever. I love it. So Marley, break a leg tonight. I cannot wait to, of course, help kick off the show tonight. And you guys are ready. I mean, the whole cast is absolutely ready for this show. I bet Kara is super nervous, which is so fun and exciting for her. I just love that kind of nervousness about a show. Oh, there's Laura Jo. Laura Jo says, love you all. I miss you all this weekend. Break legs. Thank you, Laura.
I love you, Laura.
And break a leg to Ethan. Laura couldn't be here this weekend. She and her family are on our way to go see Ethan in his college production. And so a lot of our alumni doing some great things. So safe travels to you, Miss Laura. All right, Marley. I think next week, I think we get to talk to that guardian angel, Claude Monet.
Yes.
Jeffrey Pickens will be on Thursdays at 3 next week, of course, letting us know all aspects of his character. Also, we'll get to talk about how the audience is reacting, of course, to the show. Don't forget, if you're out there and you're thinking, I want to be a part of this, I want to help out, we're still looking for one more usher for this Saturday's evening performance from 7 to 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Just call or email Lissa by the information there, Lissa at AmarilloLittleTheater.org, or of course call our box office 806-355-9991. Don't forget we have the Cabaret Dance Workshop this weekend. Auditions for isn't that weird that it's the fourth show? It's like,
How
what?
is
The
that
fourth main stage
possible?
show. Yeah, it's just because Patsy Cline,
Yeah.
Sound of Music, and then of course Double Wide's running now in December. And then of course we have all the great things, but as you're out and about doing anything, swing by the Royal Bar, check out that Rosemary Haze drink. It's going to be fantastic. And then upcoming excuse me, November 28th, 6 o'clock, mark your calendar for Panhandle Gives event. Marley, break a leg tonight. I know you guys are going to have a blast. It's going to be so good to have that audience reaction. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
I can't wait to be there for it all tonight.
Can't
And
wait.
all of you who are watching Thursdays at 3, thanks so much. Be sure to hit subscribe, notification button, so that way you get a notification every time we go live on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Central Time. And we'll look for you guys next week or at the theater this weekend for
Yes,
Defying Gravity.
please come see us.
Come see it. Get tickets. Call the box office. All right.
Yes.
Bye, Marley. We'll see you later.
Bye.